Now, we all have a basic understanding of the differences between the body of a man and a woman. But as we age, those differences can become much clearer, often because we can feel them, right? But sometimes something as simple as what you eat can make a huge difference. I want to welcome outpatient nutritionist, dietitianist, Danae Sink. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. So as aspects of nutrition with women, they can change over time. What is the primary difference between men and women?
Well, some of the differences from a nutrition perspective between men and women is one of them is that women typically have more fat mass than men do. Men tend to have a little bit more muscle mass, and so that often means that our calorie needs are it's less, so we need fewer calories per day than men. But some of the other differences as well as women also, our needs change as we go through different phases of life, such as pregnancy and breastfeeding. The number of calories that we need increases during those periods because you're eating for two and then you're feeding for two. But then also some of the vitamins and minerals that are needed as well, such as iron and calcium, and particularly during pregnancy, folate is very important for baby as well too. So just some of the different vitamins and minerals that we need during those particular life phases increase too.
Yeah, speaking of life phases, women, we're the lucky ones, right? Because outside of pregnancy, we have menopause, perimenopause, and changes like that. So what are some differences women can make in their diets in regards to the foods they make to prepare for those hormonal changes?
Yes. So one thing that kind of commonly occurs around that, it's just a big period of change just in general during that phase in a woman's life. And so one thing that a lot of times women can experience along with that is weight gain can accompany that, or just weight changes in general. And that's not necessarily there are some changes hormonally that happen that can affect weight, but it's also just a lot of times women tend to be less active around that period of time, and then as we age, our muscle mass decreases, which also can affect our metabolism. And so, if you're eating the same way that you were when you were in your 20s, there's just going to be some weight the weight gain that kind of accompanies that. So it's really important to remember to follow a healthy eating pattern. So eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, whole grain products, protein. Protein's particularly important for maintaining the muscle mass, and especially lean sources like chicken and fish. Plant-based sources that also have fiber as well, like beans and legumes and peas are also important. Fiber is great for the gut. It's good for digestion. It's also great for blood sugars and for heart health. And when women enter that menopause era, their risk for those types of conditions do increase as well. So making sure you're following a healthy eating pattern and also staying active is very important.
Yeah. Okay. So we just made it over to Thanksgiving hump. We're getting ready for Christmas dinner, and healthy isn't at the top of a lot of people's minds. So what advice do you give to people that you counsel when it comes to navigating that holiday table with all of the desserts and the sweet treats and the greasy options?
Of course, yeah, that's a great question. So one thing that's important to keep in mind is not to skip meals. A lot of times we tend to kind of be like, oh, I'm going to have this big meal later. I need to just skip meals so that I'm saving all my calories. But that actually can backfire, because then by the time you get to that really big meal, you're starving, and so it's easy to overeat just because it's not about making nutritious choices, it's just about satisfying that hunger. So making sure you're still eating your meals earlier in the day is important. Another thing that can be helpful is all these holiday parties, which are so fun. It's connecting with friends. It's just remembering to try to get a smaller plate and then just get a little bit of the different items. Still enjoy it, absolutely, but just smaller portions, and then trying not to hang out by the food tables. Get your food then move away and focus on socializing too is important as well. And then also just practicing, some mindfulness, slowing down while we're eating these meals, and that gives you time to kind of recognize, okay, I'm full, like I can stop now. But it is important too to remember this is one time a year, so not to get so bogged down in restricting and that type of thing. It's important still enjoy this. It's a time of connection, time for family and friends. So enjoying those special foods, and just practicing mindfulness with that.
And that's just for this time of year. But something that women like to indulge on year round is caffeine, all the coffee drinks and things like that. And the men will always tease that we don't drink enough water. So give us some quick advice about that, and then we're gonna head out.
Well, water and fluids in general are important. One slight thing I will mention was sometimes for some women, actually limiting like caffeine and alcohol and spicy foods can help with hot flashes. So if that's something that you struggle with, that might be something to consider. With the coffee drinks, I would just recommend moderation with those. If you can find ways to use sugar-free options versus the full added sugar options, that will be helpful for calories and also just health in general. So just trying to practice a little bit of moderation with that would be a good idea.
Yeah. And nutrition varies from person to person. So
Absolutely.
if someone wanted to take advantage of the services you offer, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so talk with your doctor and they can place a referral for outpatient nutrition services at Carle Health.
All right, well, we definitely appreciate you for coming in and dropping some wisdom on us on this Wednesday.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.